Dear Boris, I have been trying to ignore you, like some elderly relation who always seems to wait to mark some formal situation to illustrate their ill considered prejudicial views about the geopolitical landscape or whomsoever they may choose. But unlike that drunken uncle, who will grow sober and repent, it appears as though you founded your entire government on the premise of your own innate colonial ambitions, where the rhetoric of fear and hate and all the old traditions have been dragged out of the grave and surreptitiously revived by a xenophobic wave of politicians who've contrived to redefine democracy and turn it on its head, to hide the true plutocracy that governs in its stead. But I grew up on the border, and I have family north and south. So it's hard to just ignore the kind of bigotry you spout when you can understand the troubles for the civil war it was and not some act of folly or the tail wagging the dog. I know you'd say, I'm just a Murphy. My granddad was a Sproul, and his father died in World War I when he was 12 years old, who stood beside his fellow men to serve King George V at a time when men could still pretend and propagate the myth that war was ever more than just a plaything for the rich. So while you talk about surrender now and dying in a ditch, you do well to just remember how that history was true, and not something to quote because you haven't got a clue. But I know you want a war now just to keep the mob distracted. Because you've been getting worried by the way that they reacted to the fact that you're a born entitled narcissistic fool, pretending to be somehow fighting fit and right to rule. And that's fine when you're a kid just playing dress up for the day. But with the fate of every person on the planet now at stake, it's true to say I'd sooner see and rather it by far if you were still in childcare as opposed to where you are. Because though you seem to think the protocol's a toy for you to play with, to employ to your advantage and go on to do away with, you know it's just a plaster for a self inflicted wound that could spell complete disaster in your economic ruin. And deep down, you know the fallout of the damage that you've done has made it all but certain that that day is gonna come. But you have to play the patriot and you have to double down and to juggle in the face of it as Sir BoJo the clown. 'Cause these days I see politics as just a three-ring circus where the clowns are front and center to distract us all on purpose from the ongoing malpractice of our species' automation and the biometric future of our planet's population. But I know that's far too heavy and that no one really cares about what's going on beneath the surface of our superficial layers. They'd sooner turn to Netflix and subscribe from month to month. So I leave you with this sonnet, and I'm sorry that it's blunt, but fuck your jingoistic nonsense and your normalizing wrongs. And fuck the pomp and bluster of your prep school education. And may your Tory party with its Kremlin backed donations stick the backstop up your arse where your old empire belongs. Fuck your lockdown Christmas parties and your birthday sing alongs. Fuck the bumbling bullshit of your vacuous vaccination. Fuck your Peppa Pig world and your private renovations. And fuck all the politicians who refuse to get along. Fuck everything you touch or taste or smell or hear or see. Fuck everything you do or think or feel or sense or say. And fuck all the booze you wheeled in for your colleagues and MPs. 'Cause I never thought I'd say this or live to see the day. But you're a supine protoplasmic invertebrate jelly. And the more I see your face, the more I miss poor Theresa May.